Do you remember Super Mario Brothers?
Answer to that is no. No.
Today is March 10th, so I wanted to go back and talk about the first game, the one everyone and their grandma has probably played. Now, hi, if you don't know me, my name is Walker, I'm a game dev, I make video games for a living, and I wanted to give that as context because I'm on a quest to play as many games as I possibly can. So I decided a fun challenge was to play every console game I could in order of release. That way I don't miss any sequels and I can enjoy experiences as they come along them. I grew up in the 2000s, so playing a lot of 80s games like Super Mario Brothers might be a little more difficult if I play a game that's fantastic and then I have to go back to something that's aged maybe not so well. But in this case, I'm really able to appreciate it because I've been playing over around 800 games, and I'll be honest, I don't really like the challenge so far. The main problem is a lot of games are super simple, but Mario, while not being the most complex game, at least by today's standards, when I go through this challenge and I go up to it, it was really, no joke, one of the best experiences I have had so far, and it makes me really excited for what I get to do next. It was that much of a saving grace to what I've been doing. See, let me explain why. I actually thought about making this a separate video, but I didn't know if it'd be something people enjoyed. If you'd like to know more about it, like no joke, I have a whole list I should be showing on screen. But regardless, the main thing is that before Mario, there's mainly two types of game philosophies I see as a game dev. I see there as having a game that's play more and more play. What's the difference between the two? Well, it's more of a thought process, but it's how progression works. See, in a lot of arcade games, there is what I call the play more concept. Play more is when you continue to play. You put in a quarter, you do well, you get to do it again. You beat the maze in Pac-Man, here's another maze. Sometimes there can be extra rewards, like a power-up or two, maybe a cutscene, but for the most part, the reward is, hey, your quarter gets to last longer, you get to play more of the game. The same game, but you get to do more of it. Problem is, once you get that onto the home console, which is what I've been playing, the charm kind of wears off, as well as the simplicity of games as well. But with Mario, it was a little different. And it's not the first game to do it, but this is a philosophy Nintendo has to this day that I try to apply to my own games. It's the other opposite, which is more play. Easiest way to describe it, Miyamoto says,
やっぱりね、達成感だと思うんですね。で、達成感にはいろんなことがあると思うんですけど、一つはクリアするっていうボスを倒すとかゴールに行くという達成感もあるんですけども。
It's as simple as when I beat the first level, I get to go on to the second one. That might seem kind of simple, but you get a whole new experience. The world 1-2 is underground. There's levels that are in the water. There's some that are in a castle, some that are up in the mushroom clouds, some with bridges. But my point being is that you get rewarded with more game. You're not just doing the same level over and over again. For the most part, there is a beginning and an end, which is kind of more standard to a lot of games now, not just platformers, but just in general. There's more of a continuation, moving away from the arcadey feel. Back in the 80s, going for high scores was very common, and Mario itself still has a point system, but how many people do you know that are really trying to get those maxed out points? At least nowadays. But I think that's really the fun charm with it, is that it feels like an amazing adventure. And while the story itself of Peach got captured, go rescue her, and we kind of make fun of it today, but it gives these characters purpose, a feeling. Not only that, but the things around them. For example, Goombas or Koopas. Things, especially in this context, don't really come from anywhere specific, as well as, okay, what makes you stronger? You'd think it'd be like something like, weights or something to make you more buff, but no, mushroom makes you big. You eat a flower, spit fireballs. You would never think that in a million years if you didn't know it already, of course. But that's the kind of thing I think that makes Mario's world so fun, is that it has all of these unique attributes that make it really feel alive. Like these are actual people or things in this world. The toads that are being locked away in all these different castles, the different enemies you'll see above or under the ground, and as you progress you'll see more varieties of them. And it's honestly really amazing to see that how much of that has continued to move forward. I mean, we still see Goombas and Koopas, Bowser at the end. I mean, a lot of these things have stayed in tradition, and why? Because they're good. But in general, most of the stuff still works. It's still fun. Goombas, you squash them, pretty simple. Koopas go along the ground, you can kick them. Makes kind of sense in your mind. The plants that are in the pipes, you can go down the pipes, they take you under the ground. It's that kind of cool stuff, as well as all the little extra stuff, like getting 100 coins gives you a lot extra life, or the one-up tricks that Nintendo would show off. The other thing about Mario is that you can also see the love that it had, even with its first release. A lot of people complain that there's no saving in the original. If you die in the final level of Bowser, right as about to pass him, you gotta go back. Sorry. Yeah. Or even if you just die in 1-1, which that's embarrassing, but
Okay. But what? Come on! I jumped!
Oh my god, Elliot.
I
You got a game over
I
in
swear to
1-1.
God, I jumped!
Luigi game over.
regardless, the point is that it's kind of frustrating. But the thing is, they couldn't really do anything about it. There's no saving in games. It just wasn't a common thing yet. However, what the developers decided to do was to add extra warp zones. And a lot of people know these nowadays, and because of these, you can beat this game in about less than 5 minutes if you're really good. But the point is that the developers kept this stuff in mind and what players would do. And in fact, this kind of thing, ironically, was helped create other games like Sonic, having to speedrun the same levels over and over again, and enjoying that sense of speed and keep going. But my point being in all of that is it's still so influential in wanting to let you explore, let you continue. Not only that, but like I said, the hidden blocks and the extra one-ups you can get in different places, and the game rewards you for being creative. There are so many different options and available tools to you the entire game. There's so many different secrets. A lot of people know them by heart nowadays, but seriously, even as a first-time player, it was so rewarding to see them. Even if I had to play the same level over again, I might find something new. I might see something different. It makes you feel like you're really on a journey, which a lot of games before this couldn't really give you that same kind of feeling. And while a lot of people would argue this is not the best game in the series, it's kind of a good thing in terms of we've improved and we've made progress since then. But it's always nice to remember the simpler things, and especially in the first game's case, because a lot of these things weren't even supposed to be the way they were. A lot of design philosophies of the first game exists specifically because of the NES hardware. Like, why does Mario have a mustache? Well, it was hard to see his nose. Why do the Goombas look the way they do? Well, actually, they weren't even in the game, but they were running out of space, so they needed to use the mushroom sprite. Why do the clouds look like bushes? Because, again, saving space on memory. Another great example is at the end of castle levels when you're fighting against Bowser. Every level before the World 8, if you shoot him with fireballs, he'll transform into another enemy right before he dies. This was a glitch. It wasn't intentional. However, people built a story around it, and it's even been used in later Mario games. And I think that's something to take away from everything. If there's one thing you can, because granted, remember, I am a game dev, so I try to pull from these games, and the one thing I can always take away from is limitation forces creativity. A lot of the things that we come to enjoy about Mario, it really feels like a world you can dive into, and it feels like your imagination can run wild. And you can clearly tell the developers were doing that on their end too. And it really excites me as, like I said, I have many games more to play, and if this is where we are now, I can't wait for the future. Thank you so much for watching. If you are interested in any of my other stuff, you can always subscribe, but really I would love to if you checked out my game, you can go wishlist it, or if you're a little unsure, there is a demo you can play. Let me know your thoughts. Thank you so much for watching, and happy Mario Day. See you next time, guys. Bye.